Road to the Past. In October 1969, a man identified only as LC and his business associate Charlie were driving north from Abbeville, Louisiana toward Lafayette on Highway 167. As they were driving along the nearly empty road, they began to overtake what appeared to be an antique car traveling very slowly. The two men were impressed by the mint condition of the nearly 30-year-old car. It looked virtually new and puzzled by its bright orange license plate on which was stamped only 1940. They figured, however, that the car had been part of some antique auto show. As they passed the slow-moving vehicle, they slowed their car to get a good look at the old model. The driver of the old car was a young woman dressed in vintage 1940s clothing. And the passenger was a small childlike boy dressed. The woman seemed panicked and confused. Elsie asked if she needed help and, through a rolled-up window, indicated yes, all the while looking down with a very puzzled look at their vehicle. Elsie motioned for her to pull off to the side of the road. As they came to a halt and parked on the side of the road, Elsie and Charlie turned to look at the old car behind them. However, to their astonishment, there was no sign of the car. Remember, this was on an open highway with no side roads nearby, no place to hide a car. They had simply vanished into the thin air. What if she had come from the past, popped into the future, and did not return to her past? The newspapers of 1940 would puzzle over a disappearance of a mother and her child one cold October day. Foul play suspected, the search continues, while she and the child continue traveling in and out of various time zones forever. The pair who foresaw World War II. In 1932, German newspaper reporter J. Bernard Hutton and photographer Joachim Brandt reportedly visited the Hamburg shipyard to do interviews for a story. As they were leaving, they heard the drone of aircraft engines. Looking up, they saw the sky filled with warplanes. Bombs began exploding around them, and within a short period of time, the area was a raging inferno. Brandt snapped pictures of the devastation of the two drawn back into Hamburg. But when the film was developed, there was no evidence of the attack. The pair's editor accused the men of being drunk and discontinued their story. Afterward, Hutton moved to London, where he supposedly saw a newspaper story in 1943 about a Royal Air Force raid on Hamburg. The accompanying photos showed the shipyard just as he and Brandt had seen it 11 years earlier. In a series of raids known as Operation Comara, approximately 550 to 600 bombs turned the city into a firestorm which killed 40,000 people. It was World War II's first widespread destruction of a major city and the last anyone heard of Hutton and Brandt. Andrew CARLSSIN. One of the most attractive elements of time travel is the ability to make a killing on the stock market. After all, just a basic knowledge of financial history could let you make investments in stocks like Apple, Wells Fargo, and more that would pay huge dividends. And the story of Andrew CARLSSIN, allegedly a Wall Street trader who chanted back from the year 2256 to make a killing on the market. The story claims that starting with just $800, CARLSSIN was able to build a $350 million fortune in just 2 weeks. After he got busted in 2003, the time traveler offered historical information such as the location of Osama bin Laden and the AIDS vaccine. But what makes him on the third list is that apparently CARLSSIN correctly predicted the exact date of the US invasion of Iraq, and that no record of him existed before 2002. On the way to the court for hearing, he was vanished and disappeared into the unknown. Unfortunately, the government turned this into a serious hoax that CARLSSIN never actually existed. But the truth cannot be long hidden. Hotel Time Warp. In 1979, two British couples vacationing in the north of France were driving looking for a place to stay for the night. Along the way, they were struck by some signs that seemed to be for a very old fashioned type of circus. The first building they came to looked like it might be a motel, but some men standing in front of it told the travelers it was closed and that a hotel could be found down the road. Further on, they did find an old fashioned building marked hotel. Inside, they discovered almost everything was made of heavy wood. There seemed to be no evidence of such modern conveniences as telephones. Their rooms had no locks but simple wooden latches, and the windows had wooden shutters but no glass. In the morning, as they ate breakfast, two police officers entered wearing very old fashioned capped uniforms. After getting what turned out to be very bad directions to evict them from police officer, the couples paid a bill that came to only 19 francs and they left. After 2 weeks in Spain, the couples made a return trip through France and decided to again stay at this interesting, if odd but very cheap hotel. This time, however, the hotel could not be found. Searching they were in the exact same spot, they realized that the hotel had completely vanished without a trace. Photos taken at the hotel did not develop, and a little research revealed that French police officers wore uniforms of that description prior to 1905. A Terminator from the future. In the late 2000s, posts began appearing on the internet from someone claiming to be an American soldier from the year 2036. John Titor, as he called himself, was on his back to 1975, using a device installed in a 1987 Chevy Suburban, naturally to obtain an IBM 5100 computer to fight a computer virus destined to destroy the whole world. Titor hinted at a world was destroyed by conflicts, culminating in a series of global nuclear strikes in 2015 that would kill almost 3 billion people. Nobody really knows who John Titor was, as most of his communications were made over the internet. Titor provided a number of goofy predictions from the future, including a new civil war in the United States that would begin in 2004. After making the Earthlings understand his message from the future, Titor disappeared into the ether forever. Or did he just go back to the future?